Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you our nightly update regarding the tropics. And we'll be spending quite a bit of time tonight discussing Invest 97L, which is, by all likelihood, soon to be airing within the next couple of days. So we're definitely going to discuss that. We've also had a little bit of chatter this afternoon regarding this mesoscale convective vortex off of the southwest coast of the Florida Peninsula, the one that dropped a whole bunch of record rainfall into the Sanibel Captiva area and Pine Island as well this morning. So that is not a surface feature, so it's definitely non-tropical in nature. So if we take a quick look at the most recent surface analysis from the National Hurricane Center, we've got Invest 97L here, Invest 96L here, and then if you notice, we don't have anything here. So this is not a low pressure entity that is noted even this afternoon. It's not noted by the National Hurricane Center. So taking a quick look at the outlook, as you can see, we don't have any active systems on the board. Invest 96L, I might as well kind of get this out of the way, currently has a 10% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 20% chance of development over the next 7 days. It's got to get away from the dry air associated with the Saharan dust. As far as the big story, Invest 97L. This currently has a 50% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance of development over the next 7 days. So, as you could see, a very thin strip. A very thin strip of development area here prior to 40 degrees west. Then it kind of starts to widen out as the uncertainty in the track then begins to present itself. If we take a look at the overall kind of zoomed in area from Tropical Tidbits here, we can note that it looks like a tropical depression now. And depending on the wind speed rolling through the Cabo Verde Islands, it could be even airing already. But may not be a surface circulation, could be the mid-level circulation that is showing up on satellite. So we'll have to wait and see. As far as Earth null is concerned, so let's jump down to the surface here. As you can see, it could, Jamie, it very well could be going to Bermuda. That would be the most likely outcome at this point right now, at least with all the data that is being shown. Hopefully it spares the folks there in the Antigua Barbuda area as well. Hopefully it'll stay far enough north. So if we take a look at Earth null down here at the surface, we'll come 1 mile above the atmosphere, and if you notice, we really don't have much. We'll put our trusty green circle here at the surface. Come 1 mile up, we don't have much. If we come 2 miles up again, we don't have much. So we're waiting on this thing to get its act together, so this way we can get a solid read for the models and then be able to get some kind of idea of where this may go later on down the road. So taking a look at this afternoon's ensembles, we've got our 12Z run from the Euro. This is out 10 days. As you can see, the majority of the models are in agreement with this northern turn. We only have 3 ensemble, maybe 4 ensemble members out here Getting down here towards southern Florida, that would equate to approximately 8%. So at least if we take a look at what it was with the 0Z at the 10 and then the 12Z, you could see a considerable shift to the right. See, the 12Z today matches the 12Z from yesterday, but when we woke up in the overnight hours, that's what it looked like. There was a considerable shift to the south and to the west, and then with this afternoon's model run, we've got that shift back to the right. So we're not running a westward trend, though we're certainly going to be keeping a very close watch on it. Now, as far as the Euro's AI is concerned, this is a completely different animal at this point. So I'm going to bring this down to about, we'll get this into about day 9 and then 10. And really, what I want to point out is this one is the one that's creating a lot of uncertainty as far as the tracks are concerned. We have three distinct and separate camps. We have one here, we have another one here, and then we have another one here. This one turns early. This one is weak, has potential land interactions with the Greater Antilles here. And then as it's coming across, it is a little bit too far south and continues on this more southerly track and potentially impacting the state of Florida. The other one turns right before we get to the Bahamas, and then it is a question for the folks there in the Outer Banks. So right now, the AI model, as you could see, if we look at the AI model, I'll erase everything and get it off there. 10 days. So just look at where we have the AI model. We've got it from about 55 degrees west all the way out here, going through Cuba and getting into the Gulf of Mexico. So we've got it even, some of them maybe even into the northern part of the Caribbean. Okay, if we compare that to the regular euro, there is a huge difference. You see the shift. So the AI models are the ones that are really, really producing kind of like this. Well, we're not 100% sure whether this turn is going to take place or not. And without having anything developed out there, without having any kind of solid center, we don't know as it is anyway. But if we could get at least a little bit of congruence between the models, it may lend to a little bit of optimism. Now, like was said in the chat earlier, for the folks there in Bermuda, oh, big time. The folks in Bermuda really need to watch this, and so do the folks here in the northern part of the islands. You'll really need to watch this as well. Just in case, just making sure that this storm crosses the 20-degree north line before it reaches 60 degrees west. That will then buy us time with a little bit more open water. Unfortunately for Bermuda, if it follows on current thinking, this could end up being considerably close. Taking a look at the Google DeepMind, as you can see, we will get it out here. We'll let the time run. As you can see, there's quite a bit of signal associated with the Google DeepMind. Now, I'm going to stop it right here. This is 4 days. This goes out. We're going to go out exactly 4 days. And as you could see, one thing that I need to make sure that is pointed out, we have a timing and speed discrepancy. All right, because if you look, it could be anywhere in between these points right here. Okay, well, if it's here, when it makes its track up here, there will be certain conditions in this region. If it is here when it gets up here, there'll be different conditions. So, speed is going to play a major factor in this as well. Well, if we take a look at the overall ensembles going into day 4, as you can see, we do have a considerable agreement within quite a few of the ensembles that this thing should turn beforehand. And, unfortunately, for the folks out here in Bermuda, there are a couple tracks that pretty much cross right over the top of the islands. But it could, at least from the Google DeepMind thinking, it could go between Bermuda and the United States and still make that turn with hopefully enough room to not touch land. But I'm going to bring this back one run, and I'm going to show you guys what we were looking at this morning. And it was a little concerning because, as you can see, there was quite a few of the ensemble members that had shifted back to the left and back south and to the west. But if we bring this forward now, and we're at the exact timeline that we were there with yesterday's run, there are nowhere near as many of the ensemble members getting up onto land. Now, that might be good news for the folks here in Florida, maybe even the Bahamas as well. Folks up further up the line in the Carolinas, and points further north, we got to keep a very close watch on this one. Now would be the best time not to be worried about it, not to be concerned, just to know that it's there, pay attention to it, and receive updates at least once a day, trying to figure out exactly what the National Hurricane Center's thinking is, and make sure that your hurricane kits are prepared and ready to go, just in the unfortunate chance that you may have to put them into use. So, all in all, the ensembles today have at least kind of responded to and maintained some of that more northerly component and more northerly turn. As you can see, there's some chance, but it is certainly in the lower opportunity categories for land impacts to the United States than not. You're certainly in a lower category, but we're not out of the woods yet, folks. We don't have a bona fide center, and until we get a bona fide center, the models are still going to jump. And depending on where that center develops, when, where, and at what location, that's going to be critical going forward. So I'm going to run the dust model here real quick for everybody this evening. As you can see, Invest 97L is located here, kind of in between some of the plumes. And then we get it up here. Even the NASA GOES model wants to kind of bring it up here into the southwestern Atlantic. We do have a little bit of rotation in behind it as well that is not necessarily being picked up on or discussed. It's a little bit more broad, so it may not develop into anything. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. There's been some signals that as what will be eventually Aaron, as it lifts out, that it may leave something in its wake. So I'm keeping a very close watch on it. Now, let me make sure that I get the 12Z up here. This is something that we did yesterday, so I want to make sure that we kind of stay consistent with the things that we have been doing here for everybody. So what we have here, and I'll bring this to 240 and then we'll just lock it out. So what we have here are the operational runs for the Euro in the upper left-hand corner, the Euro AI in the upper right-hand corner, and then the GFS down here into the bottom left. What this is to represent is the 500 millibar geopotential height. So what we're looking for is where our high pressures and low pressures are located approximately 3 miles, give or take just a little bit, because obviously it's not a set line, approximately 3 miles above the ocean surface. So as we could see, all three models are in agreement. Let me change colors here. Go to our trusty green. And we'll get that out there. So as you could see, all are in agreement with what we have with 96L right here. All right, and they are also in agreement with a little bit of a rise in around the Cabo Verde Island area where Invest 97L is currently located. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this forward and we're going to bring this up to we're going to run it forward, bring it up to the 72-hour mark. All right, we'll run this forward. Now we're at 72 hours. Now at this point, this is when we get a little bit of difference. The Euro has a signal. The GFS has a signal. Okay? They're both in pretty good approximation with one another. The GFS is a little bit west of 40. The Euro is a little bit east of 45 degrees west. They're both just under 20. Well, the Euro AI has nothing. And this is where we start to get into the variance and everything. Everything else, as far as the models are concerned, match up. Our low pressures are both in 72 hours in a pretty good spot, in a pretty good location. The only big, kind of pointed out difference there is the AI is missing a low pressure center associated with 97L. Has a kink in the winds, but does not have a closed low like the other physics models do. So let's run this forward now a little bit further. We're going to take this out to day 5. Now, by the time we get to day 5, as you can see, there are some similar features again between the AI and the rest of them. So as you can see, we have similar features of similar intensity, but they're in approximate location. You've got another trough coming in here. So, they're at least not seeing things, that aren't there. So we have our low pressure on the Euro and the GFS. But on the AI, we're missing it still. Okay. So the AI at this point, if you notice at the very top of this, we're not even at 20 degrees north. Well, if we look at the GFS, because of organization, we're above 20 degrees north. And if we look at the Euro, because of organization, we're at or right above 20 degrees north. So if it stays and remains weak, like the AI operational is calling for, compared to what we see with at the 500 millibar levels, compared to what we see with the GFS and the Euro, we don't have, congruence between them. But the AI is the one that is leaning towards, hey, there may be an opportunity for this to stay further south, for this to stay, more in line with potential land interactions, and then being able to slide up underneath the opportunity to get out and then emerge into the Gulf of Mexico, going through either Cuba or the Bahamas and Florida to do it. So we're going to run this out now. We're going to run this out to day 7. Now, by the time that we get this out to day 7, now the AI is starting to respond. And the AI also has a very strong high pressure ridge sitting over the top of it. Keep in mind, it is a very weak storm. It is much further south. The GFS, on the other hand, has already pulled northward, is on the western edge of the subtropical ridge, and will continue to eject out into the open waters off to the north and then eventually the northeast. The euro has also lifted up well above 20. We've got the erosion taking place with the high pressure here, and then itself will then eventually kind of make that turn, break that ridge, and usher itself out to sea. The AI is the one that is way down here by 20, as you can see, a very weak entity and much further south than their counterparts. So it's going to have to be something to watch. I mean, the GFS at this point in time is well above 25 degrees north, as to where the euro is still starting to gain that latitude, but is obviously a little bit slower than what the GFS is. And the GFS is stronger than, at this point, than what the euro is calling for, intensity wise. So, again, we'll run it out to show kind of the rest of the solution out to 240. As you can see, the euro finally breaks free, but still, getting a little bit too uncomfortably close with the AI, as you can see as we run this forward, because of its lower angle. Its approach brings it right through the Bahamas, and then it doesn't really have enough time to make a turn. So, and as you can see, there are glaring differences between what's going on up to the north of the storm by the time we get out to hour 240. So, please, folks, just keep in mind that there is going to be some changes, some ebbs and some flows in some of the forecasts, and some of the things that we see with the operationals. We haven't seen the big scary operational runs over the last couple days being shared over social media, because they're all turning out to sea. So it's not what those people that are solely meant for hype and clicks, it's not what they want to see, because it doesn't show fear, which gets them attention. Our daily update as far as the MJO is concerned really hasn't moved in a couple days. It's just kind of stuck right there. So it's we'll check back in tomorrow, see if it's moving further into phase 2 and deciding that it wants to move along the African mainland and stop helping to juice up some of the easterly waves that are coming off of the mainland. Our global tropics hazards outlook, as you can see, August 13th, August 19th, we're expecting development. We see everything's lining up to be true as far as what this week or that week's prediction is calling for. Maybe another one back behind it as well. And then we've got from the 20th to the 26th out there in the main development region again. So it's something that we're going to have to watch. The new update will come out on Tuesday, to where the bottom frame shifts up to the top, and then a new frame will replace this bottom one. So, and that one will get us into the first week of the first couple days of September. So the one following this and the one after that will be the two that cover the climatological peak part of season. Okay, let's go forward, and we will break out our trusty line. We are at 10 today, so let's see, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're somewhere in this range right here. somewhere in that range. Maybe a little bit further, maybe a little bit closer, but it is primarily to highlight that we still have the major part of hurricane season to go. Please ensure that you have your kits in order and to ready to be activated if need be. Make sure you got, it might be a little bit too late for insurance purposes, but please make sure that you've got all your food, your perishables, your medications, and all those other stuff taken care of as much as you can prior to a named storm being out here into the basin. Because once a named storm and it crosses a certain line, and I believe that line is 60 degrees west, maybe 50 degrees west, that nothing as far as the insurance industry will be able to be put in place. And a lot of things take 30 days. So please make sure that you have everything on the up and up. So August 11th through the 20th for our tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin. Between 1851 and 2024, we have 152 named storms during that 10-day period over history. That is a little bit less than one a year. As we get from August 21st to August 31st, that number jumps from 152 over time to 207. So we go from just under one a year to well over one a year at that point. Big increase. And when we get into the following one, an even bigger increase. So we'll continue to track these as far as the origin points throughout the season. But as you can see, anywhere, folks, especially during late August, getting into September, we could have development literally anywhere in the tropical Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, southwestern Atlantic, central Atlantic, tropical Atlantic, Caribbean. It could develop anywhere. So, all right, if anybody has any particular questions regarding the Atlantic, please feel free. Go ahead and ask. We're kind of waiting for it to actually develop itself before we really get in depth with everything. There is one thing that I do want to pull up for everybody, and this is the spaghetti plots. For 97L, as you can see, the spaghetti plots do have a pretty good determination that we're going to have some type of northerly turn. So the hurricane specific models, especially halves, not playing with the intensity. Halves is wanting to just absolutely turn the volume up on these on 97L. So we're gonna have to watch. This has got a good chance of being the season's first hurricane. It seems likely. Maybe even the season's first major hurricane. Yeah, I'd give it a good probability. I would say at least what we're looking at now, the way that it's organized itself, the way the way that it looks currently on satellite, I'd give it a good chance. I really would. I'd give it a better than 50-50 chance that this is our season's first hurricane. So hopefully it does not hit anybody because nobody but Josh Morganman wants this one. Nobody. Not when they come from Africa and have all those days to kind of congeal and to get themselves structurally organized and potentially undergo multiple rounds of eye wall replacement cycles, expanding the wind field and creating potentially hundreds of miles of wide of tropical storm force winds that then turns into surge components. And it's a mess when we start dealing with these ones from the main development region. So Kyle, I know that you say you do, but no, you don't, bro. You don't. You may want to chase it and all this other stuff, but you may want the storm. The thing is you don't want the recovery. Because with systems that are coming from the main development region and having days upon days upon days, I mean, it would basically, and like you're looking at dropping a significant major hurricane into southern Florida. The recovery, the impact, the environment. Hell, it'll take a decade just for your trees to return to somewhat normal. So enjoy the natural looking environment while you have it before the next major hurricane comes and changes it. And because once those trees have snapped, they don't grow back quickly. And it's the stronger the storm is, the more impactful and the longer it takes for it to come. And or as long the longer it takes for recovery to be even take place. I mean, here in the Panhandle, I could still drive out to the west. We live here in Tallahassee. I could still drive to the west. Michael made landfall in 2018. You could still see places that have absolutely been obliterated. This one, you don't want this one. You don't. This is not the one. Pick a different one. I promise. This ain't gonna be the one to be messing with. Um, we don't want this one. We don't want this one to touch anybody. We want to sit back and marvel at the look of it on satellite and from remote sensing. We don't want not this one. So taking a look at the Eastern Pacific, we have Evo out here on its kind of on its final leg. Henriette has decided that it wants to come back to a hurricane. Now, you want to now we're getting into zombie Energizer Bunny at this point in time. That's in the Central Pacific. So we will take a look at Henriette if we're going to get us the cone of uncertainty here. Um, this thing is an overachiever, and I'm beginning to have issues with this as it continues along in kind of un uncommon territory for the Central Pacific and in the Hawaiian Islands. It's not very often that you see a hurricane track well off to your north and to the east and just keep right on going like like the Energizer Bunny. Taking a look at it, look, it's starting to try to reveal an eye feature on this thing, and I mean, what? this thing is this thing is just ridiculous. Um, no, Amanda, you definitely do. You definitely needed an arc there this morning. It was more isolated to the Southwest Florida region with the mesoscale convective vortex that was existing off the Southwest Florida coast. But that passed by yesterday for them, not this morning. You guys caught the diurnal pulse in that. But looking at Henriette, you got to be kidding me, folks. There are no hazards affecting land, but currently we're located at 25.7 north, 152.5 degrees west. It is about 445 miles northeast of Hilo and about 445 miles northeast of Honolulu. So it's way out there. Maximum sustained winds are now back up to 80 miles an hour with a minimum central pressure of 990 millibars, moving northwest at 17 miles an hour. Now, this thing, I mean, to appear an eye, folks, they're calling for this to get up to 105. I wouldn't be surprised if we're exposing an eye. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already in that range. Granted, it's out there in the middle of the open waters. Been I have not been monitoring it, but as you can see here, given that this rapid intensification period was not well forecast and a recent closed 37 gigahertz ring on AMSR2 data, I'm inclined to go above the guidance in this situation and show near rapid intensification for about 24 hours until the environment becomes more hostile. So, as you can see, the intensity, it's we'll see, maybe. Um, Oh, you got, oh, school starts down there tomorrow. Oh, I feel for you, dear. I so feel for you. That's no fun in Southwest Florida. Traffic is going to be an absolute nightmare. Is he going to Heights? Just send me a message in Messenger. Don't put that personal stuff out there. But yeah, if he's going to Heights, I might be able to offer some tidbits and some pointers there. But as you can see out here, forecast to be way out here into the middle of nowhere, fall apart, and hopefully dissipate before we have to deal with anything to do with tropical system and Alaska. We don't want to do that. All right, all right, cool. Not Heights. We certainly don't want to ever have to forecast a tropical system for Alaska, and hopefully Henriette is not going to be the first one. So, as far as Tropical Storm Evo is concerned, Evo is located at 22.1 north, 117.2 west, moving west northwest at 12 miles an hour with a minimum central pressure of 1,006 millibars. Maximum sustained winds are down to 40 miles an hour. As we could see here with the satellite view, it is still producing some shower and thunderstorm activity, but it is still continuing to move into cooler and cooler waters with a much more stable surrounding air mass of cool, dry conditions. And at that point, we are not anticipating this one to pull a Henriette and decided to zombie crawl itself across the basin. This one is forecast to dissipate and disappear in short order, like they normally do. So, hazards affecting land with the public advisory, we have none. If we take a look at the forecast, I find this one kind of funny because currently we're at 40 miles an hour. In 12 hours, anticipated to still be a tropical cyclone, but a tropical depression at that point. 24 hours, 30 miles an hour. Then 36 hours, 25 miles an hour. At 48, 15 miles an hour. So just a breeze at this point, just a regular breeze. In 48 hours, it's going to be a clouds with a little bit of wind and a twist. That's about it. And in 60 hours, completely dissipated. But I like the fact that they had to make sure that they told us in 48 hours that it will still continue to be a remnant low with the maximum sustained winds of 15 miles an hour. Yeah, okay, 15. Keep that in mind. And as you can see, out here into the middle of nowhere, well out into the open waters, not near land, no Mexico, no Hawaii, and it will take its 15 miles an hour and dissipate over the open waters of the eastern Pacific. Jumping out to the western Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Padul. It did receive typhoon status from somebody earlier. I think it was the Japan Meteorological Agency classified it as a typhoon and then maybe potentially brought it back. But as you can see here, it is currently at 50 knots by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, and that's run by the U.S. Navy. And then as we continue to run this forward, maybe potentially receiving typhoon classification here just south of the southernmost Japanese islands on its way towards the Taiwan and Chinese mainlands. So, Padul, not Abdul, Padul. Podul, Padul, I don't know how you pronounce these things. You guys know I'm terrible when it comes to pronunciation and names. It could very well be, Jonathan. It could very well be, sir. So, all right. For the folks out there into the islands, especially Antigua, Barbuda, and getting up there maybe towards the Virgin Islands as well. If you guys need any information for your official meteorological agencies, you can come here to the North America tab of the Tropical Weather Threat Society's International Meteorological Database, and you will find your country there. For the folks that may want to monitor what is going on in the Cabo Verde Islands, in the tab of Africa, we do have the Cabo Verde Islands listed. So it can bring this up and you obviously would need some translation. But the radar can't really find it. It's not really the best. But we're certainly keeping a very, very close watch on it. And as you can see, any of the information that is needed as far as um, any information as far as any alerts or stuff like that will be available on their home page and their official government website here for the Cabo Verde Islands regarding their weather. So all of this stuff is readily available here at the database. All right, folks, that's about all I have. You're very welcome, Laura. And I know this says August 15th to August 31st. Invest 97L has far exceeded the thresholds that we needed to be live. So we are going to be live every single night now, regardless what's out there in the basin, regardless of active systems, regardless of development percentages. We will be live every single night from now until Halloween at the absolute earliest time. That November 1st might be my next day off. As far as the live streams are concerned. So I plan on being here with everybody throughout the entirety of the season. We're going to go through it all together. I'll be live at least once a day, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, here on Facebook and YouTube. And, you're very welcome, Betty. And yes, Jonathan did post some very valuable information with the database and some disaster preparedness information to the page and in our Tropical Weather Threat Society Hurricane Recovery group here on Facebook. So, okay, everybody, we'll take one quick last look at the overall basin, and we will go ahead and wrap it up tonight. And we will then, we'll be back again live tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, to go over the latest. And maybe if we keep running the pace that we've been running, we may have tropical depression or even Aaron on the board tomorrow night, to where we might be able to then start to get the models to really key in on some things, and maybe we'll get a little bit of clarity with it, and hopefully we see the AI models kind of make that shift back to the north and back to the east, and save quite a bit of the mainland of the United States and other countries. Unfortunately, that puts Bermuda a little bit more under the gun, but all in all, unfortunately, Bermuda's in a bad location when it comes to the tropics this time of year. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night. Good night.